Hello and welcome to our flipped instructional session on Unit 4, Lesson 15, Mapping. Just a quick reminder, as you are starting your lesson, you will see your lesson on your class plan. You can also click on the class content tiles at the top of the screen. You can click on the unit that you are on and then scroll down to the lesson and click on that first blue link, and that is where you can begin each of your lessons. For our lesson introduction, maps can help us understand civilizations. Maps contain information about the land itself, information that may help us understand how people lived long ago and how they live today. So you have just studied 3 important civilizations, and now we're going to review the geographic concepts of place and region as they relate to these civilizations. Don't forget that on your first slide of the lesson introduction that you have your lesson resources button. Don't forget that you're going to click that to get the student guide. If you don't already have your printed version, you can click on the lesson resources to get your student guide. So when you click on that lesson resources, you're going to see the objectives, and then that first blue link is always the student guide and then any other materials that we need. The student guide is what directs us through the lesson and tells us the offline activities that we will be completing. So let's review our objectives for today. We are going to review geographic concepts of place and region, and then we're going to use some maps to gain information on Asia. So we're going to continue on with our lesson. The concept of place refers to the unique characteristics that distinguish one location from other locations. In one of our first lessons in Unit 1, I believe it was Lesson 3, where we talk about where, we talk about the different concepts of place and region. And so this is kind of a review of that after we've learned about these ancient civilizations. And now we're going to go back and think about them in terms of the place and the region and also the geography. So a place refers to a unique set of characteristics that distinguish one location from other locations. A region would be a group of places that have characteristics in common and set them apart from surrounding areas. So in this activity, it's going to give us several different activities to practice identifying both cultural and physical characteristics of the 4 ancient civilizations. So we've looked at Egypt, Mesopotamia, India, and China. And so we're just going to practice identifying what were the cultural characteristics and what were the physical characteristics of these ancient civilizations. Just kind of a brief review, and then we'll answer some more questions about the characteristics in terms of physical geography and the land. But first we're going to start by identifying cultural and physical characteristics of these, and there are several activities in your D2L course that will guide you through this. So just a brief overview, we'll go over these together in class, but taking a look at the rivers and some of those physical characteristics of the land, rivers, protection, and so forth, you're going to match each civilization to its characteristic here on the right. As you move through the activities, you'll go slide by slide. It'll ask you several other questions as well, but not only are you going to match those physical characteristics, then you're going to match each civilization to which rivers ran through them. Then you're going to take a look at the shelter, and so which kind of buildings and shelter did each civilization have? Then you will finish up with matching each type of writing to its civilization. So do that and we will review all of this in class together. All right, and then you're going to take a moment to focus on geography. So you've studied 4 early civilizations. All of them depended on rivers and all accomplished remarkable things. Do you know which 3 civilizations shared a continent and which continent was home to the 4th civilization? And then it tells us to continue the lesson in our student guide. So we are going to open up the student guide and take a look at our last part of this lesson. So activity 2 in the student guide is basically just a set of questions. It gives us some directions. Do you know which two civilizations were part of the same region? How much do you know about the two continents where civilizations began? You're going to use the atlas in the back of your textbook to complete the following. Check your answers against those in the lesson answer key. And again, we will review these in class as well. There's also a climate zone map on page 640. And you're going to match each civilization shown with the correct climate. And you can use answers more than once or not at all. So as you can see, the student guide is where we have all of these questions. We're going to start out with climate. And then we will continue with climate. It's asking all about climate zone. And it has several other questions, and as you can see, it will refer you to the correct page. So then if we're talking about a population distribution map on 643, so it'll guide you to where you need to look in your book. You are going to look on 626 and 627, the map of Eurasia, to answer questions, and then finish up with questions 14 and 15. Bring all of that with you to class. We will review that together as we take a look at place and region a little bit further and do some fun activities and quizzes together in class. So your next step is to look for the flip follow-up session in your Class Connect schedule. I will see you then. Have fun.